Welcome to Circle of Hearts Radio. Journey with Grandmother Alaya as she enters her magical world of relics, sacred sites, and ancient crystal skulls. Meet with exciting trailblazer authors and individuals shifting the consciousness of humanity. Send her your questions to be answered on air on her monthly segment, Ask the Oracle. And now your host, Grandmother Alaya, in the sanctuary on the airwaves on OMTimes Radio.
Welcome to Circle of Hearts Radio. I'm Alaya. Welcome to my sanctuary on the internet. Well, as the crazy world is going, my guest for today doesn't seem to be showing up. So we were going to talk about mental health. And I'm going to wing this. So if I go into pauses, everybody kind of just bear with me because this was kind of unexpected. Mental health, and if we look at the mass consciousness, what's going on today, all the energies are super sensitive. And in the old paradigm, the 3D mentality, mental health is a condition which puts labels on certain situations or if people experience certain things. Now, from my own experience, which I brought out a few weeks ago on another talk, was that my brother had a very brilliant man. He had a PhD in psychology, and he was very much into the esoteric. Now, back in the 50s, when somebody underwent a spiritual awakening, there wasn't that much understood unless you got very involved in the mystery schools, which doesn't often happen, but usually after a Kundalini experience, where all of a sudden your senses really open up and a lot of physical sensations happen. You can experience visions, you can see energy, you can hear animals talk, you can see auras. This is what happened to my brother. And this was at his age of, I think, in his late 20s. But in the 1950s, what had happened was he was in New York City. And he's walking down the street, and all of a sudden, he's seeing the auras of people, and he's talking to the animals. But what was perceived was this 6'4", 200-plus man talking to himself. So the police got hold of him and took him to Bellevue and institutionalized him. Now, my brother, sometimes when spiritual awakening happens, it happens in a period of time. Maybe a few weeks you get hit with all this super sensitivities and visions, but it'll dissipate. So when my brother got regrouped or reorganized, he became aware of the situation, and because he was familiar with psychology, as this was his field, he realized he was in a real mess being put in Bellevue in New York, because now they labeled him as a schizophrenic. So my point in bringing all this, with the mass consciousness waking up, when people are experiencing a whole lot of different things going on, does mental illness actually have a purpose in this new earth that we have, or should we look at people and say, this is part of their spiritual evolution, they're waking up to many dimensions, etc. The problem with the old 3D consciousness is they loved pharmaceuticals like Haldol and lithium and I forgot a few of the other ones, which had a lot of side effects and gave people this flat effect because you no longer felt anything. You know, it's like you existed in the world, but they took all your emotions, they took all the life out of you. So this is why many people who are diagnosed with this particular schizophrenic label, and I'm only talking about schizophrenia, but there are other mental health issues that I'm not familiar with. It's just because this one's a personal, because it was in my family. Um, my brother had he decided I want to feel again. I want to experience. If I don't take my meds, I can become myself again. And this is a situation that happens a lot. Now today, I guest was supposed to be Mia St. John, and she had lost her son because she had put him in a rehab institutional place to be watched over. He was diagnosed as schizophrenic paranoia. Now, I'm not going to get into their issues, but the point is a lot of these rehab institutions, and I say a lot, and I'm sure there's a lot of good ones around, but the one she's particularly involved with has a problem with is that they aren't as careful in watching people, especially if they're very suicidal, that to go every 15 minutes, sometimes, people who maybe who are working there and don't really have the education, and this does not pertain to all places, let things pass, and sometimes something really happens terrible that the individual who's going through things manages to either slip out of the institution, or they're put back in, they find a way to harm themselves. And this was her story. And so she has been fighting for recognition of mental health issues and mental health care. And it was a really, it was a very powerful story, and it's something that needs to be brought up. So even at looking and feeling at all these craziness and everything, the energies that everybody's going through right now, it seems that we lack a calm point, that have all this overstimulus and emotions and spiritual awakenings going on, and because people can't really put an idea to it or a label on it to understand that they get afraid. So now you add the emotion of fear into it, and that can highlight into not good responses, sometimes violence, and sometimes deep depression. So I think really our society needs to be able to address this and to address what is really going on with people, and to really take a look into the idea of spirituality and spiritual growth, that the medical profession is no longer, let's balance it out, these two ideas out, and not just say, well, the psychologists are right and the spiritualist or the new age people are, living in a woohoo world or whatever you want to call it. No, this needs another issue needs to be addressed, because I think it would help so many people going through so many things. And I'm slowly seeing the medical world of psychologists and medical doctors that still have that sense, that passion of wanting to help society, that they haven't become so numb by the tragic issues of society, that they're looking to make changes. And I'm hoping that we can bring more of their ideas out so that people are starting to see that there's options. Plus, also let them on shows like this, and also other articles with, the OMTimes media, whether it's a magazine or other hosts. People are bringing out many trailblazing people who are coming up with wonderful ideas that are seeding in new ideas in the mass consciousness. So please be aware of this, because if you're going through things you do not understand, there's a lot of answers, but you need to look and not to be a victim to it. So this is part of the subject that I'm going to be talking about, and I'll kind of regroup my thoughts after the next commercial, because I'm totally winging this, not what I prepared. But it gives you some thought that if you yourself are going through things, whether it be visions or heightened emotions or the opposite, depression, that there's a lot of other options to look at, and sometimes to really do some research on your part, because you really are in control of your life. Always remember the thought here that you incarnated to be here at this particular time and to experience things. So let's take back control. There's a Lemurian term called Espavo, and what it means when somebody greets you, it means thank you for taking back your power and understanding your light in your life. And this is under this heading of Espavo that I wish that you will continue. You listen and you become empowered. I'll be back in a minute.
Conscious media for conscious minds. OMTimes. Being a radio host on IOM FM allows you to build your show on a rich platform with the power of the internet to fulfill your outreach goals and connect with a very specialized and global online audience, unlimited by time and distance. OMTimes Radio will provide you with web relevance, a recognizable conscious brand, and with the standard of excellence that has accompanied every single OMTimes endeavor. Host your show with OMTimes Radio Network.
Hi, this is Sylvia Henderson, intuitive life coach and energy healer. Are you ready to elevate and rise way above your normal? Be sure to listen to my show, Intuitive Transformations, on OMTimes Radio, Sunday evenings at 9 p.m. Eastern. Get the inspiration you need to transform your life.
Adopt US Kids presents Multiple Choice Parenting.
You've messed up your daughter's haircut. Do you A, get spiritual?
Mom, where's the mirror?
Beauty is within. Oh.
B, find the positives?
Less time blow drying, more time texting?
Or C, show empathy?
Mom, you really don't have to.
Twinsies!
I kinda love it. You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For more information on adoption, visit adoptuskids.org. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Okay, well, I'm back, and we're going to continue on the subject of mental health. This is all free thoughts that I'm just putting out there. They make some sense to somebody. Let's go on looking at I always like to be able for you to think of things in different terms. So let's look at the words mental health versus spiritual awakening and see what is similar, what is different, and eventually maybe how we can become empowered and take a different look at it. Studies was to go into a mental institution, which at that time I was really just learning about things, and my brother was going through things, and I'm going to tell you from a spiritual angle, I had no clue. So this is why I want you to start to really think about what we perceived as mental illness is something mass consciousness. We might be really becoming aware of it as part of spiritual growth. And how do we deal with it? And this is still tricky because we're still in this in-between stage. But there's a lot of good information coming out. And there's a lot more support coming out. And I think people are more open-minded. If you run, we see so many people, even myself, if I, when I talk about, if I see a vision or if I remote view or if I get a message from the Torah through one of my skulls, now I think I'm pretty level-headed, and I surely don't want somebody to say, well, this lady's cracked, that she needs to be evaluated, because I'm really sure that wouldn't be a good thing at this point in my life. But this is the point I'm trying. Let's not make judgments on people. When we talk about schizophrenia, when you see people on the streets and, we want to put the label, oh, they're schizophrenic, they're off their meds. Could we possibly look and see something else going on with these people? And I don't think we should take that off the table. Of course, society is not ready to make that jump yet, but if you get enough people thinking in this direction, maybe we all can make a change. Or if you know somebody that's experiencing things, instead of being fearful of them, try to see what's going on with them. A lot of people, even with the homeless, we see because they see things or out of the ordinary. People are saying, well, they don't fit in society. So, we got to medicate them. We need to go and make them controllable. But how do we really know? People have gone up to homeless people. And when they talk to them, they can find out, there's a really deep experience going on. I think it's our own perception. And this is something you need to think about and to be comfortable with. I'm not saying if you're not comfortable with it, go and talk to somebody out of the blue that's, you might be fearful of. But if you open your mind a little, you might start, step back and seeing what society has done to people that don't fit in. Because a lot of people that decided, what Mia was going to point out is her son was a very gentle young man, a very artistic man. And he expressed himself through his art. And if we look at a lot of different people or even children that we categorize them as autistic, etc., putting labels on people kind of limits them or how we view them, because people that are involved with, let's say, autistic, and I really don't want to put labels on, but just for this example, or schizophrenic, there's a deep creative being inside. And when we put a label on them, we disempower them. I think the whole thing about this issue about mental illness I'm trying to bring forth is to open our minds to look at something a little bit different. My brother was a good 20 years older than I am, so he's at this point he transitioned a few years, maybe about 8 years ago. But he was never given a chance, And sometimes I didn't give him a chance because I didn't understand it. I wasn't ready for it. So I'm not putting judgments on people if you're not ready for it. It took me a long time to understand. But now that I can step back a little bit and look at things differently, this is why I thought, even though Mia wasn't here today, maybe it's important to bring out this idea for everybody to realize there's souls, beautiful souls, in everybody here that's on this planet. And we're all here to learn, and we all express ourselves in different ways. And so that's why I always use the expression one heart, because that's what we are, a collective of one heart, one light. Sometimes people do things that aren't nice, but maybe there's a lesson in that. We're going to be heading into a commercial soon. Mia's son couldn't take the pressures of this world, so instead of taking meds, which he felt wasn't right for his body, he got off of them. But he couldn't handle all the different things that he saw multidimensionally because there was nobody to reach out to. So then he went to street drugs, methadone, which was like a Band-Aid. So it's a difficult story, why somebody, I think what I'm trying to get, I think people need to be looked at differently and different help needs to be provided. I don't know all the answers, but if you can just, first step of opening your mind to maybe what people are going through, and if we compare the words mental illness to spiritual awakening, the old to the new here now, maybe that'll be a first step, so that if you do come across people or know of people or family members or even yourself, that we can help you become empowered again. To take back your light, to take back your power, to bring through all your ancestral knowledge that's within you, back to the forefront again, and to help other people and to reach out. I think that's what we really want in this world. We've seen all the craziness leading up to all the events happening now, and I think we're going to enter a time of deep needed healing and new ideas. And I'll be back.
The Real Conscious Connection. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM. Have you ever wondered how to change your love paradigm? The secret key is finding a love partnership, not just a regular connection. How do you find these? Through conscious relationships. Ascending Hearts Dating is a dating site for people like you that believes in second chances and a different type of spiritual connection. Try Ascending Hearts for free today at ascendinghearts.com. and change your love paradigm. Ascending Hearts, the premier dating community for the spiritually awake.
Hello! Join us, Lisa Berry and Michelle Carter, every Monday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time for the Mindset Makeover, What's Possible. Get ready to become present, clear, and unstuck, and start living fully, led by your heart. While you listen and feel this transformation through vibration of word, sound, and song, you'll open up to what's possible and experience your shift.
Hey, this is Reva McIntyre, and I wanted to talk to you about a serious problem right here in our own backyard. Did you know that there are nearly 16 million kids struggling with hunger in America? That's why the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks collects surplus food, engaging their communities in solving hunger and giving hope to hungry kids and their families. But they need your help. Support Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
A message from Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Well, I'm back again. So this quarter, what shall we talk about? I think again the spiritual awakening, what people are going through, elicits a lot of emotional responses. Now, a lot of things are happening to people. I mean, everybody is evolving, whether they realize it or not. And I think the people who are not necessarily conscious of it are having the hardest time of it. And if they're not conscious, there's no rights and wrongs on that. It's their soul allows them to evolve in ways that is right for them. Can you imagine all of a sudden, and I think this is almost the way the world is right now, you have mass consciousness. You have some people who are maybe a little bit more open to the ideas of spirituality and energy work, etc. And then you have another portion of the world that is going on daily life and just doing everything they can survive. Now, talking about these people, and again, there's no judgment. Individual souls judge the timeline when people are going to start to awaken. So it is so wrong for you to say, well, these people should get with her or something. No. Can you imagine a world where people, all of a sudden, they wake up in the morning and they see different timelines. They feel people's thoughts. They hear the telepathy starts going. Somebody comes by you, and all of a sudden you feel their energy. You feel their aura. You start to see the aura. The animals that share your life with you, all of a sudden you can realize you can communicate with them. You look at the plant life, and you feel their emotions. You look at the animal world that has chosen to come back to, physically support us and, give their lives up for us, so that we may be sustained if you choose that. Why do you think people bless their foods and stuff? Because of the energy of the meat, of the fears that everybody, these animals go through. Now wake up one day like that, and you'd be at the point of, let me put this, pillow over my head. I don't want to get up. I don't know what's going on. I must be going crazy. In my 20s, when I had my first spiritual awakening, that's what happened. All of a sudden, I'm saying, I'm a mother of two young, very toddlers, and I'm sitting in the living room. My girls were asleep. And all of a sudden, everything looked like it was moving. And I could see in the walls, and I could see in the pictures. And I'm looking at the ceiling, and I'm seeing people stare back down at me. And all kinds of weird energy things were happening. And I had Kundalini experience. My body started shaking, and then it was moving at odd angles, and I try to get up and it feels like there was a hand being pushing me, forward, and I didn't even want to move forward. I, got a piece of paper, automatic channel. This is part of the experiences that people start to go through when they awaken. So my brother did not come to my door. I mean, my brother and I were not that close because of the age difference. But if he did not come to my door within that period of time I was going through that awakening, I'm sure my family would put me in an institution too and say, well, this was genetic. It happened to one member, so, it's probably runs through the family or something. And that's wrong. He said, basically, Charles, which is my brother's name, he goes, sit down and read this. So here I'm handed about 10 different books on esoteric literature. I didn't even know what I was reading, but I would pick out certain things. I'm going, oh, this is why this is. I mean, I saw Christ. I saw Mary. Was I hallucinating? No, I don't think so. It's just my senses were awakened, the chakras were awakened, and a lot was happening. So this is what the point I'm bringing out about mental illness, that term, versus spiritual awakening. Because one is a very negative and the other one symbolizes growth. So I'm asking you to open your minds and maybe start to compare the two and see there's a similarity. But nowadays, with more open minds, we're understanding it better. And there's more hope for people. Otherwise, the mental institutions and the pharmaceuticals, would be having a heyday with the world at the moment. So while we're talking about this briefly, let's discuss the word depression. How many people feel depressed with all that's going on? Energetic, when we see a depressed person, we see your aura. Put your white light around you, and that's your aura. And make it simple. When you feel depressed, it's like you're feeling squeezed between the world. The energy of the world is infringing upon your aura and bringing it really close to your physical form, which adds all kinds of symptoms to you. There could be chemical imbalances that happen because your aura is a beautiful light energy, and being it constricted to your form, everything is energy. So it's like trying to squeeze a marshmallow. Think of your aura as two pieces of graham cracker, and you're the marshmallow in between, and the graham cracker gets closer and closer. Well, but this energetically, what happens when you get depressed? The world overwhelms you. And when the world overwhelms you, your emotional body, which is contained within your aura, goes out of whack, out of disharmony, out of balance. So that's in a lot of ways why you're seeing so much depression in the world. And it's not an easy thing to deal with, because when you're depressed, you lose that sense of drive, of like, why is it worth living? You exist, but you're numb. And a lot of times the whole thing is to, what's a quick fix? What can I take to make me feel better? Let me go to the doctor. I'm very anxious. I'm depressed. So what does the doctor give you? Xanax, per se. Well, I went through that years ago, too. Doctor gave me Xanax because with everything going on, I was very highly anxious. And there was a lot of things going on in my life at the time. And my body does not do well with pharmaceuticals. I took Xanax, and I wanted to commit suicide. I developed this very flat effect. Family didn't even know what to do with me because I was just walking around like a zombie. And things got instead of helping me, things got so overwhelming that I just wanted to get in the car and head straight for the nearest big tree. So, again, at that time, who pulled me out is my now husband. And, basically said, you better get with it. And I am lucky through the strength of my character, soul, or something within me at that time said, you got to stop this. And I realized it was the Xanax. So I just never took it again and was able to recoup. And it's not an answer for everybody to stop it. You know, the doctors will tell you, no, you're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to be weaned off of it. But the point of what I'm trying to make in all these talks is for you to become, start to handle your own healing and your own emotions and learn about energy and learn for resources and articles that can possibly help you go through things, or research groups in a more natural field, or research energy workers that can help you go through something. Because we need to move forward. We don't want to go back into the old labels of mental health, because they survived at a period of time, but it's just not working during all that we're going through now. And I think everybody has the ability to take back their lives and to find their own self-worth again. And it's not an easy journey, but the thing is, it's not impossible either. And once you've gone through any of these depressions or spiritual awakening, once you understand something, and if you see somebody that needs help or understanding, the point is to reach out to them. They'll have to find their own way, but you can always just be an emotional support that, you know, gee, I've been through this, I understand. Let's see if we can, you know, find some answers for you. So that's where a lot, I think, my idea of Circle of Hearts came by. And this vision came to me back about 2001 for a healing circle. That people in a holding hands in a circle. And I pictured them as hearts, because the heart center is such a vibrant center in your body. And it's who we are, our souls. And together as Circle of Heart, people helping each other, we can get through anything. And medias, again, like OMTimes, they give you the information, and it's up to you to start looking for what you need. And, you know, to self-empower yourself. Nobody's going to give you a magic fix. That was the ideas of the old world, and that's what the pharmaceutical companies have done. And we're seeing it only causes more problems. So I'll be back again.
Feed your soul with Waves of Consciousness on OMTimes Radio. The number one reason girls drop out of school in sub-Saharan Africa is lack of access to feminine hygiene products. The Pads for Schoolgirls Project, an outreach of Humanity Healing International, is changing this paradigm by setting up sewing programs at schools, teaching girls a vocational skill, while producing the reusable pads that help keep them attending classes. The girls pay it forward by making and giving pad kits to other girls in need. To learn more, visit humanityhealing.org. Humanity Healing is where your heart is.
Hello, I'm Miriam Knight of New Consciousness Review, inviting you to my new show where I interview the rising stars of the conscious awakening. We'll explore the many faces of consciousness in action and intriguing perspectives on life, the universe, and everything in between. Join us each Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern on the Rising Stars Show.
People are always looking to invest in a good opportunity. So what if you could invest in the future of kids, like a stock? Not the kind of stock that's about making money, but a stock for social change called Better Futures. With your investment, it helps students like me go to college. My name is Charles, and I'm your dividend.
Invest in better futures with UNCF. Visit uncf.org/invest. A mind is a terrible thing to waste, but a wonderful thing to invest in. Brought to you by UNCF and the Ad Council.
I want to thank everybody for listening to my little talk about mental health versus spiritual awakening. It was something I really didn't plan, but, I really did hope to bring out some new ideas. Not new ideas, but bring out ideas to be talked about, because I think that's so important in the world today. We don't talk to each other. We don't listen to each other. We really don't see each other. I remember in the movie, the Avatar, where the blue beings would say, "I see you." Have you really ever stopped and just looked at the people around you, or your family, or just the world in general, and be able to say, "I see you. I see you. What's inside of you. I see what makes you tick." And this is what I'd like to see start happening in the world. And I think it can. And I think, it's a matter of step by step. So going over just as a few ideas that I did come up with today, spontaneously, is I'd like to have you realize that you're a powerful light. You incarnated at this time, wherever you are in this world, with a plan to be here at this time, to experience things for whatever reason your soul chose to be. And those are your soul contracts. And I think talking about these things make you realize you're not victims of the world, that you have a responsibility to this planet that you live in, and you have a responsibility to yourself, and you have a responsibility to all the life that's on this planet. And we're all in this together, and we're all awakening. And we can't always go back to the terms that were good maybe 10, 20 years ago. No, life is evolving. We're creating new terms. So that's why I asked you to look at the idea of mental health as spiritual awakening, and try to put yourself in that place. Like I said, I could talk about the word schizophrenic because of the expression, because of my own family member, and to show you what I've learned. I've been on this path in this world for 67 years. I'll be 68 in March. And what I share on these shows, or my additional knowledge, is something I've personally experienced. And I've made a lot of mistakes. And, I've tried to learn from them. I've seen my brother. I saw what he went through. And I saw my own judgments because I did not understand. But for me, it was, as I went through it myself, then those were my aha moments. When I went through, all of a sudden, seeing through walls, or, seeing different beings, entities, visions, hearing different things, channeling, automatic writing, even healing, Reiki. When I was a nurse, all of a sudden my hand chakra was opened. When I was a hospice nurse, and, my patients would go, "How come your hands are so hot?" And I'd go, "I don't know." But they go, "Well, please place them here." And maybe it was on their leg or something. It feels good. The warmth feels good and comforting. So then it was my lesson to learn about channeling healing again. So I'm constantly the seeker of knowledge, and I'm constantly learning. And in my old age, I've been able to see things a little bit clearer. This is one subject, mental illness, that I feel that, we need to look at differently. And I want you to realize you have power over your life, that you're a soul that came into this incarnation because you decided to. It wasn't, haphazard. You made the choice of your parents. You made the choice of your location. And as a soul, you know the reasons why. You weren't the victim. Every lesson has been carefully chosen to experience for your growth and in your understanding for you to be able to help others. So that's why I don't want to see the doors closed anymore to ideas of mental illness. If you see somebody, again, possibly on the street, and I use the example of homeless, not because I want to put any labels to them. Their soul's going through something, and sometimes because they don't fit in what society's standards are, all of a sudden they find themselves out on the streets. So I'm not saying to go up to them. You as a soul have to make your own decisions. But use that line from the Avatar movie, that I see you. If you spend each day just really looking at people or looking at all life and seeing your responsibilities to yourself and to the planet, I think collectively this world is going to heal and we're going to move into a good, direction, because we need the help of all of you. No matter what you think your position in life is, or whether you can do it or can't do it, or culturally it doesn't allow it, what you do inside your own heart and your own mind, for the good and beauty of life, no one can take that away from you. Realize that your actions are your responsibility, and that let your heart, follow your heart. But mostly I want you to be able to look at people and understand them. And let's stop putting labels on them. Mia, part of her quest is to recognize what happens when, in the mental health facilities across the nation or world. Like I said, there's a lot of good ones, but there a lot of corrective measures need to be done in other ones, because people, I don't understand it, so it's not part of my life. I don't want to deal with it, so I don't want to know about it. There's a lot of subjects like this, whether it be mental health or abuse or, we can go through the whole list. So let's bring out some of the subjects we're uncomfortable with, and let's put shine some new lights on it so that we can start to understand it. And once you start just to look at things a little bit differently, your world opens up. And you see the beauty of the world, and you see the challenges people are going through. And you see what's going on with your own life. And you see that, I have the power to take care of myself. I have the power to make decisions for myself and to, be of use on this planet. And isn't that what it's all about? So again, like I said, today, I went off on a rant, not really a rant, but something unexpected happened, and she wasn't able to make it. But I felt the subject and her story was really important to bring out at this time. So even for this short time, if we could have opened your mind a little bit, just think a little bit differently, or look at things a little differently, and look and feel with your heart. Maybe you and your neighbor and your family members will start to see the beauty of the world and how things or you'll be looking through your eyes of your soul when you follow your heart. And this is what we want, because this is so needed in this world. You know, we've gone through so much darkness and so much upset. So let's bring light to the situation and understanding. And that'll be part of, people ask me, what is my soul purpose? You're on this earth to be a light, to bring light to the planet, to understanding in the planet, growth to the planet. And you'll be fulfilling your purpose just by being who you are, of seeing the world through your heart and acting through your heart and reaching out to people and seeing them not as different, but through things what they're experiencing and being more tolerant. So that's, we're coming to the end of the show, and I thank you for listening. And I hope that maybe you'll think about a few of the words. Like I said, on these shows, I go through a lot of my own experience. And for whatever reason, I chose a very action-packed life and have gone through many, many things. But I'm still here, and this is my sole purpose, to reach out to you and help in ways that I can. So thank you again. Next week, we're going to have Mary Wong, and she's going to bring you East meets West as far as energy work and dealing with fertility issues and helping women conceive that feel that they haven't been able to conceive. So this is also very exciting. So blessings to you, dear souls, and thank you for being in the world at this time and being who you are. So until next week, much love to you, all of you. Night.